Hello dear students, welcome to the fourth session on the chapter Admission of a Partner. In the previous videos, we have already discussed the meaning of admission of a partner, reasons for the admission of new partner into an existing partnership firm, and also the ratios to be calculated in connection with the admission of a partner. In this video, let us discuss the important adjustments to be made in the books of the firm at the time of admission of a partner. There are 5 adjustments. The first one is revaluation of assets and liabilities of the firm. Second one, distribution of general reserve or other accumulated reserves or profit and loss account credit balance appearing in the books of the firm. Third one, contribution of capital by the new partner. Fourth one, treatment of goodwill. And the fifth one, adjustment of old partner's capital account. So these are the 5 adjustments to be made in the books of the partnership firm at the time of admission of a new partner. So let us take up these adjustments one by one. The first one is revaluation of assets and liabilities of the firm. When the assets and liabilities of an existing partnership firm are revalued, an account called revaluation account or profit and loss adjustment account is opened in the books of the firm. The revaluation account is prepared to ascertain the net profit or net loss on the revaluation of assets and liabilities of the firm and to record the same in the capital accounts of the old partners through a single entry. Whenever a new partner is admitted into an existing partnership firm, the existing partners or the old partners may take a decision to go for revaluation of assets and liabilities of the firm. To record the effect of revaluation of assets and liabilities of the firm, the partners or the firm may open an account called revaluation account, or which is also called profit and loss adjustment account. Okay, so now what is the purpose of preparing this account? To know or to ascertain the net profit or net loss on the revaluation of assets and liabilities of the firm, at the same time to record the same in the capital accounts of the partners through a single entry. Okay, so here whenever the revaluation of assets and liabilities takes place, they open this revaluation account so that they can calculate what is the net profit or net loss on the revaluation of assets and liabilities, and that net profit or net loss that will be transferred to old partners capital account. Okay, that adjustment will be done through a single entry when the revaluation account is opened. So let us understand what is the meaning of revaluation of assets and liabilities. I'll give an example. Let us suppose that the value of machinery is shown in the books of the firm at rupees 50,000. Okay, so this is the book value before the admission and before the revaluation. Okay, so now at the time of admission of a new partner, the old partners have decided to go for revaluation of this machinery. So revaluation is nothing but they are going to find out what is the present value of this machinery. That is, if they go for selling that machinery on that particular date, what is the amount they are going to realize. Okay, so the present value of this machinery has come to 48,000. Okay, so when you compare now the book value with the present value, there is decrease in the value of asset. Okay, whenever there is decrease in the value of asset, that results in revaluation loss. Earlier the book value of machinery was 50,000, but now anymore you are going to show it as 48,000. Thereby there is decrease in the value of asset, which is a revaluation loss. Similarly, let us take up one more example. The value of land and building was shown at rupees 1 lakh earlier. Okay, but now at the time of readmission they have revalued the land and building, and there is appreciation in the value of land and building by 10%. So the present value of the land and building will be 1,10,000. Okay, 1,10,000. So now if you compare the book value with the present value, there is increase in the value of asset. Whenever there is increase in the value of asset, that results in revaluation profit. Okay, so I think it is very much clear. When there is increase in the value of asset, that results in revaluation profit, and when there is decrease in the value of asset, that results in revaluation loss. Similarly, the revaluation can also happen in case of liabilities, but the effect will be reversed. So here I gave the example of assets, one where it is increasing and the other one where it is decreasing. So similarly, the revaluation can also happen in case of liabilities. Okay, so whenever there is increase in the value of liabilities at the time of revaluation, that results in revaluation loss. On the other hand, whenever there is decrease in the value of liabilities, it results in revaluation profit. Okay, so to record the revaluation of assets and liabilities, they open an account called revaluation account. So ultimately, after recording all these transactions, increase in the value of asset, decrease in the value of asset, increase in the value of liabilities, decrease in the value of liabilities, they want to know whether there is net profit or net loss on the revaluation of assets and liabilities. Whether there is net profit or net loss on the revaluation, that will be transferred to old partners capital account in the old profit sharing ratio. Okay, so to know the net profit or net loss on the revaluation of assets and liabilities, the revaluation account has to be prepared. Okay, so then let us see the journal entries to be passed for the preparation of revaluation account. So whenever we prepare the revaluation account, we have to pass 3 entries. Okay, so let us see what are those entries we have to pass. The first entry has to be passed for the various losses on revaluation, and the losses on revaluation are due to the following reasons. Okay, so in the problem they will give you number of transactions. You have to identify what are the transactions that results in revaluation losses. Okay, to record the same in the revaluation account, we pass the first entry. Let us see what are the reasons which results in revaluation losses. The first one, decrease in the value of asset. I just now gave the example in the previous slide. The value of machinery was earlier 50,000 book value, but at the time of revaluation the value has come down to 48,000. Thereby there is loss of 2,000 on the revaluation of machinery. Okay, so that is an example for decrease in the value of asset which results in revaluation loss. Then the second one, provision made against any asset, say provision for bad debts, provision for discount on debtors, provision for doubtful bills or investment provision, etc. Okay, for this I'll give an example. Before the admission and before the revaluation, the value of debtors was shown at 50,000. Okay, but now at the time of admission, when they go for revaluation of asset, they have come to know that out of 50,000 they may not be able to recover 3,000 debts. Okay, so they are doubting that, so they have to create provision for doubtful debts to the extent of 3,000. Okay, so ultimately the remaining good debts are 47,000. So earlier the book value of debtors was 50,000, but now anymore after the revaluation they are going to show net debtors to the extent of 47,000. So thereby there is decrease in the value of debtors, which is an asset. There is decrease in the asset because of creating this provision on doubtful debts. Okay, so whenever you create a provision against an asset, that results in revaluation loss, because to that extent the value of that particular asset will reduce. Okay, so it may be provision against the bad debt, or it may be provision on discount on debtors, or provision for doubtful bills, or investment provision, any provision for that matter. Whenever you are creating a provision against any asset that reduces the value of asset, that is why it results in revaluation loss. Then let us see the third adjustment or third item which results in revaluation loss, that is increase in the value of liability. Let us suppose that before the readmission and before valuation, the books of accounts has bank overdraft to the extent of 20,000. Okay, 20,000. But at the time of revaluation, the firm has come to know that the bank has charged interest to the extent of 1,000. Thereby, total bank overdraft will be 21,000. Okay, now you can compare. Earlier, the firm or the partners had to pay only 20,000 to the bank as a bank overdraft balance. But now, since the interest is charged on this overdraft balance, they have to pay 21,000. So there is increase in the value of liability, which results in revaluation loss. Okay, so this is example for increase in the value of liability which results in revaluation loss. Similarly, there might be some other liability also. Whenever there is increase in the liability, that results in revaluation loss. Okay, then the next one, provision made against any liability, say provision for repayable bills, or provision for outstanding legal charges, or provision for income tax, or provision for liability for discounted bills, etc. Okay, so here in the second reason, we discussed how a provision created against asset results in revaluation loss. Similarly, in the fourth adjustment also, whenever we create a provision against liability, that also results in revaluation loss. Let us take an example of provision for income tax. The firm is creating a provision for paying the income tax, which is a current liability. They have to pay that income tax in the near future. Okay, so whenever that they create a provision for income tax, a new current liability comes into picture, which increases the total liability of the firm. So thereby total liabilities increase, which results in revaluation loss. You can also take the example of provision for liability for discounted bills. Let us suppose that the firm had discounted a bill with the banker. On the due date, drawee has to honor the bill. Okay, otherwise the liability will come to the firm. So to avoid the dishonoring of the bill, the firm may create a provision with regard to discounted bill. Okay, so that also it's a kind of contingent liability. That liability may arise or that may not arise. But now the firm is creating a provision anticipating that such liability may arise. Okay, ultimately that results in increase of liability, so it results in revaluation loss. Okay, so whenever we create a provision against any asset as well as whenever we create a provision against any liability, that results in revaluation loss. Then let us take up the next fifth reason, any unrecorded liability brought into account. So whenever we are bringing into record one more extra liability which was not earlier recorded in the books of account, so that also results in revaluation loss. Okay, so there might be some legal charges which was pending, but so far they have not shown as a liability. But at the time of readmission, when we are going for revaluation, the firm has come to know that there is outstanding legal charges which has not been paid and which is also not recorded in the books of account. So they have to bring that liability into record at the time of revaluation. So thereby there is increase in the liability, so which results in revaluation loss. So these are the 5 reasons which are going to result in revaluation losses. Okay, so for recording all these losses, we have to pass one single entry. The entry is revaluation account data to various losses on revaluation account. Okay, so this is the first entry we have to pass at the time of preparing the revaluation account. Then the second entry has to be passed for various profits on revaluation. The profits on revaluation are due to the first one, increase in the value of asset. Okay, whenever there is increase in the value of asset, I gave the example of land and building. Whenever there is appreciation, that results in increase in the value of asset, ultimately which is a revaluation profit. Okay, so decrease in the value of asset, it is a revaluation loss. Increase in the value of asset, there is revaluation profit. Okay, then second reason is any unrecorded asset brought into account. In the previous slide we saw, if we are bringing to record one more extra liability, then it is a revaluation loss. At the same time, if we are bringing to record one more extra asset, then it is a revaluation profit. Then decrease in the existing provision created against any asset. Okay, so if we are creating a new provision against any asset, that results in revaluation loss. But if we are if we are decreasing the provision which is already existing, okay, I'll give an example. Earlier debtors was 50,000. Okay, already before the revaluation they had reserve for bad debt to the extent of 2,000. Okay, and the value of debtors was shown at 48,000. So this is the situation before the revaluation. But at the time of revaluation, they have come to know that there is no need of maintaining the reserve for bad debt to the extent of 2,000, because they can recover 1,000 out of 2,000. So they are decreasing the reserve for bad debt by 1,000. So thereby the effect will be from 50,000 anymore they are going to maintain the reserve for bad debt only to the extent of 1,000. So what will be the net data they are going to show in the books of account? 49,000. Okay, by decreasing the existing provision against any asset, there will be increase in the value of asset. Earlier the value of debtors was shown at 48,000. By decreasing the provision against the bad debt, the value of asset has been shown at 49,000. So whenever there is increase in the value of asset because of any reason, there will be revaluation profit. Earlier the reserve for bad debt was 2,000. Now they have come to know that there is no requirement for maintaining at 2,000. So they are decreasing the reserve for bad debts to the extent of 1000. Okay, so this is the example for third reason. Then let us see the fourth reason, that is decrease in the value of any liability. Okay, how the decrease in the value of any liability results in revaluation profit. Let us suppose that there is creditors to the extent of 10,000. Okay, so now the creditors have decided to give some discount, maybe to the extent of 500. Okay, so this was the situation before the revaluation. Now they are going to give us 500 rupees discount. So what is the amount of creditors that will be shown after the revaluation? 9,500. So thereby, by getting the discount from the creditors, the value of creditors has decreased from 10,000 to 9,500. So whenever there is decrease in the value of liability, so that results in revaluation profit. Okay, so this is the example for the fourth point, that is decrease in the value of liability results in revaluation profit. Then decrease in the existing provision against any liability. Okay, again similar to the third point, already there will be existing provision against any liability. If we are going to increase that, then that will result in revaluation loss. But when we are going to decrease that, then it will result in revaluation profit. Okay, for example, provision for income tax. Okay, before the revaluation they had maintained this provision for income tax to the extent of 20,000. Okay, but at the time of revaluation they have come to know that the liability with regard to payment of income tax may not be 20,000, it might come only to 15,000. So thereby they are decreasing the provision for income tax by 15,000. So thereby the total liability of the firm will be decreased. Okay, so that is how by decreasing the existing provision against any liability results in revaluation profit. Okay, so these are the different reasons which results in revaluation profits. Okay, so now to record all these transactions we have to pass one entry. The entry is various profits on revaluation account data to revaluation account. Okay, then after passing these two entries we are going to close the revaluation account. For example, I'll tell you. So if this is a revaluation account, in the first entry we have passed here for recording the various losses on revaluation. What is the entry we discussed here? Revaluation account data to various losses on revaluation account. So in the revaluation account various losses will be recorded here as two various losses on revaluation. Okay, so you will write some amount here. And in the second entry for recording the various profits on revaluation, the entry is various profits on revaluation account data to revaluation account. So in the revaluation account the entry should come here on the credit side. Okay, you will write the entry here. After writing these two entries we are going to close the revaluation account to find out whether there is net profit or net loss. Okay, let us suppose that the total revaluation loss has come to 50,000 and revaluation profits, total revaluation profits is 55,000. So when we are going to close this, we will write here 55,000, here also 55,000. So you are getting a balancing figure here on the debit side. Okay, so what does this represent now? Whenever you are getting a balancing figure on the debit side, it represents net profit. Okay, now this net profit has to be transferred to whose account? Old Partners Capital account. So what is the entry ultimately here? Revaluation account data to Old Partners Capital account. So this is the entry, the first one. If there is net profit, revaluation account data to Old Partners Capital account. So here we will be writing to Old Partners Capital account. In the bracket we are going to mention net profit. Okay, net profit transferred. Now let us consider the second case, that is if there is net loss. The total or various losses total has come to 50,000. Then various profits on revaluation total has come to 48,000. Okay, so now debit side is more. We are going to close the revaluation account. 50,000, here also 50,000. So you are going to get a balancing figure here on the credit side. Now what does it represent? There is net loss. Okay, so now this also, whether there is net profit or net loss, that should be transferred to Old Partners Capital account. So here you will write by Old Partners Capital account net loss transferred. So then what is the entry we are going to write here? Old partners capital account data to revaluation account. So these are the two entries, third entry. So depending on the case, we have to pass any one of these entry. If there is net profit, the entry will be revaluation account data to old partners capital account. On the other hand, if there is net loss, we will write the entry old partners capital account data to revaluation account. Okay. So these are the three entries we have to pass whenever we prepare the revaluation account. So let us understand this concept by taking up one question. A and B are partners sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 3:2. Their balance sheet as on 31st December 2016 was as follows. They have given on the asset side cash in hand 2000, bills receivables 5000, debtors 8000, investments 8000, stock 20,000, furniture 4,000, machinery 6,000, buildings 15,000. On the liability side, bank overdraft 2,600, creditors 8,000, bills payable 2,000, investment provision 400, and capital of A is 33,000 and B is 22,000. So total capital contribution is 55,000. They agreed to take C into partnership, giving him 1/4 share. The following adjustments are to be made on C's admission. The first one, a provision of 5% on debtors is to be created for doubtful debts. Second one, rupees 200 is to be written off against bills receivables which represent dishonored bills. Third one, stock is to be valued at rupees 18,000. Fourth one, machinery is to be reduced by 10% and furniture by 5%. Buildings are to be appreciated by 20%. The market value of investment is 7,500. A provision of 3% is to be created on creditors for discount. A provision of rupees 600 is to be made against outstanding legal charges. Accrued income of rupees 1,000 is not recorded in the books. Prepare revaluation account. These are the informations given in the question. There were two old partners A and B and their old profit sharing ratio was 3:2. They decided to take new partner C into partnership, giving him 1/4 share. Now at the time of admission of C, they have decided to go for revaluation of assets and liabilities, and they have listed down here what are the adjustments of revaluation of assets and liabilities they came across at the time of revaluation. So we have to take into consideration all these adjustments and the same should be recorded in the revaluation account. Okay. Now coming to the first adjustment as they have given, we have to analyze whether each transaction results in revaluation profit or revaluation loss. Okay. Accordingly, we have to make the entry in the revaluation account. The first one, a provision of 5% on debtors is to be created for doubtful debts. If you see here, debtors was shown at 8,000. Now at the time of revaluation, they are feeling that they have to create a provision against doubtful debts to the extent of 5%. Okay. So 5% on 8,000, which comes to 400 rupees. So now we are going to create a provision against an asset which results in revaluation loss. Okay. So how the entry should be recorded? Revaluation account data to provision for doubtful debts. How to calculate the amount? Amount of debtors is 8,000 on that 5%. Okay. Then the next one, rupees 200 is to be written off against bills receivables which represent dishonored bill. Here you have bills receivable to the extent of 5,000. But now at the time of revaluation, they have come to know that the bill amounting to rupees 200, they are not going to recover that. So that is considered as dishonored bill. So that amount has to be written off. Okay. When you write off, from that bills receivable, the amount is going to be 4,800. Thereby there is decrease in the value of bills receivable, which is an asset. So that again results in revaluation loss. So first one also results in revaluation loss, second also results in revaluation loss. Then coming to the third adjustment, stock is to be valued at 18,000. Earlier the book value of the stock was 20,000, but now the present value is only 18,000. Again there is decrease in the value of stock, which is an asset, so it results in revaluation loss. Okay. Then the next one, machinery is to be reduced by 10% and furniture by 5%. Again they are asking us to reduce the value of machinery as well as furniture, which results in revaluation loss. Then the next one, buildings are to be appreciated by 20%. So at the time of revaluation, there is increase in the value of building to the extent of 20%. Okay, the value of building earlier was 15,000. We have to calculate 20% of that, which comes to 3,000. So to the extent of 3,000, there is increase in the value of building, which results in revaluation profit. Okay, then the next adjustment is market value of the investment is 7,500. So here if you see, the book value of the investment is 8,000. Okay, but anticipating that there might be some fluctuation in the value of investment, they had already created investment provision to the extent of 400. Okay, so now we have to see what is the ultimate amount of loss. The book value of the investment was 8,000. If you deduct the present value, that is 7,500, there will be loss of 500. Okay, but they had already covered this by creating an investment provision to the extent of 400. So now the ultimate revaluation loss will be only 100 rupees. Okay, so again this also results in revaluation loss. It should be recorded on the debit side. The next one, provision of 3% is to be created on creditors for discount. So at the time of revaluation, they have come to know that the creditors might give some amount of discount. So when the creditors grant discount, so to that extent the liability of the firm gets reduces. So when there is decrease in the value of liability, that results in revaluation profit. So now we have to create the provision for discount on creditors to the extent of 3% on creditors. So here the value of creditors is 8,000. On that 3% we have to calculate, which comes to 240 rupees, which results in revaluation profit. Anticipating that the creditors might give discount, we are creating a provision which results in revaluation profit. Okay, then the next one, a provision of rupees 600 is to be made against outstanding legal charges. Okay, they are creating a provision against a liability. Okay, so far they have not shown that outstanding legal charges, but they want to now create a provision against payment of outstanding legal charges, which increases the total liability of the firm. So it should be taken as revaluation loss. Then one more item is given. Accrued income of rupees 1,000 is not recorded in the books. Accrued income means they have to receive that, but it is not yet received. It is earned. Okay, so it is a asset which is not yet recorded in the books of the firm. So at the time of revaluation, they are bringing to record one more asset, which results in revaluation profit. Okay, so we have discussed all the transactions, some of them which are resulting in revaluation losses and others which are resulting in revaluation profit. So all these transactions have to be recorded in the revaluation account one by one. Let us record it. Here we have to record all these transactions. Let us discuss once again. The first one, we have to create 5% for provision for doubtful debts. Okay, so here it results in revaluation loss. We have to record that in the debit side. 2, provision for doubtful debts. The total data is 8,000. On that 5%, which comes to 400 rupees. Okay, then the second transaction also, when we write off 200 rupees from the total bills receivable, that decreases the value of bills receivable, which is an asset. Again, that is resulting in revaluation loss. 2 bills receivable account, 200 rupees. Then third one, we are decreasing the value of stock because the present value of the stock is only 18,000, but earlier the book value was 20,000. Again, it should be recorded on the debit side to stock account. From 20,000 we are deducting the present value. Ultimate loss will be 2,000. Then the next one, we have to decrease the value of machinery as well as furniture by 5%. The value of machinery was 6,000 and the value of furniture was 4,000. So we are going to decrease the value of both the assets, which results in revaluation loss. So it should be again recorded on the debit side to machinery account. On 6,000 we have to calculate 10%, which comes to 600, and then again to furniture account on 4,000 we have to calculate 5%, which comes to 200 rupees. Okay, then the next one, buildings are to be appreciated by 20%. This is resulting in revaluation profit because there is increase in the value of building. So it should be recorded here on the credit side. Buy buildings account, 15,000 into 20%, which comes to 3,000. Then the next adjustment, the market value of the investment is 7,500. If you compare, the book value earlier was 8,000, then the present value is only 7,500. If you just compare between these two values, there is decrease in the value of investment, which is a loss to the extent of 500. But this loss they had already anticipating, so they had created investment provision to the extent of 400. To that extent the loss will be reduced. Okay, from 500 we are deducting that 400, so ultimate loss on revaluation of investment will only be 100 rupees. So to provision for investment, so we have to adjust that amount of 100 rupees to the provision on investment. Okay, so 8000 minus 7500, the actual loss was 500, from that we have deducted 400, so remaining amount of 100 rupees is adjusted to the provision for investment account. Then the next adjustment is we have to create a provision for 3% on the discount on creditors. So as I said in the discussion, that when we are creating a provision for discount on creditors, it results in revaluation profit, so it should be recorded in the credit side. Okay, then the next one, how did we create it? On 8000 we have to calculate 3%, which comes to 240 rupees. Okay, so if at all they give the discount in the future, to that extent the liability of the firm will be reduced. That is how the revaluation profit arises. Then the next one, we have to create rupees 600 rupees as provision against outstanding legal charges. We are creating a provision against a liability, so it results in revaluation loss. It should be recorded on the debit side, 600 rupees. Then the next one, accrued income of rupees 1000 is not recorded in the books. You are bringing to record one more asset, which results in revaluation profit. Okay, after recording all these adjustments, we are going to close the revaluation account. If you compare here, credit side total is more than the debit side. So total of credit side is 4240. So same total is written here in the debit side also. When you deduct all these transactions or all these amounts, you will get a balance of 140 rupees here on the debit side. When you are getting a balancing figure on the debit side, that represent net profit. Okay, so whether there is net profit or net loss, it should be transferred to old partners capital account. So what is the entry for transferring the net profit to the old partners capital account? Revaluation account data to old partners capital account. In the bracket we should mention that it is the net profit transferred. What is the total net profit? 140. As we discussed, it should be transferred to old partners capital account in the old profit sharing ratio. So you have to distribute that in the old profit sharing ratio. What is the old profit sharing ratio between A and B? It is 3:2. So for A, 140 into 3 by 5, it comes to 84 rupees, and for B it is 140 into 2 by 5, which comes to 56 rupees. Okay, so this is how you are going to prepare the revaluation account depending on the transactions given in the question. Okay, let us take up some more questions in the next video. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching.